Hi there. This video is showing our DIY kitchen revamp that kept us busy in early 2017. I'll do a quick walk through the finished thing, and then if you're interested, at the end we'll go through the process we went through start to finish, showing you the issues we had along the way. We hope it gives some idea on what's possible, but bear in mind it's the first kitchen I've ever designed and built, apart from the camper van, which wasn't really a large kitchen. So, as usual, expect to see some errors and imperfections. The kitchen's here to be used and it's not really a show house. Enjoy it and hope there's something in here that's useful for you. Okay, so this is a walkthrough of the finished kitchen. As you can see, we've changed the door round. The photos will show before and after, but pretty much this is the kitchen in a finished configuration. Sort of in two halves, the main kitchen, this sort of storage area here. The wall at the end where the door is, we built a couple of years ago, sort of in preparation, but not really knowing what we're going to do. But this is it. This is the kitchen. We have a kitchen table in the middle with some nice oak stools, and we've put a cupboard at the end for storing things like our main use plates. The worktop is 40mm oak, and this is a solid piece from that corner around the chimney to there where we've done the join. That was actually rather heavy. I think we almost killed ourselves doing that, but it fits fine. But it means the extra depth worktop means we can have the microwave and toaster on the back, yet still have worktop in front. The gas hob's 5-ring gas hob with a big wok burner and the extractor fan at the top that extracts out through the chimney, not up the chimney. And it has poncy things like edge lighting if you really want it. In this corner, this is our main work corner, that's our chopping board. So in the cupboard underneath we have our bins, so it means that we can chop up and sweep straight into the bin. We also have a corner unit. It's the biggest we could get where it was going to hit into the corner. So fortunately I designed that just about right without CAD. It's amazing what you can do in PowerPoint. These shelves are where the previous owners had boxed in, whereas we've sort of recessed back in, so the chimney breast is on show now, and we put LED lighting in there, and we moved all the pipes into the ducting at the end. Whereas they had extractor things and gas pipe coming through the middle of the ceiling for no real apparent reason. And that's our other main use, which is the rice cooker. So you can tell we like Thailand. The sink unit is an IKEA unit. It's one of the few sinks, or the only one we actually saw, which sits on top of oak worktop. So, for instance, unlike a butler sink, there's no edging on show that can get wet and go black, and even the tap comes through the porcelain, so that any drips go onto the porcelain and not onto the oak. So, if you want a sink, a bit scared of getting your worktop black with wooden worktop, go to IKEA. We don't have a draining board, but we use the second sink. The tap's a filter tap as well, so we just get filtered water out of it. Now this sink only is designed to fit in IKEA units, but clearly we've made it fit into this. It just needs a little bit of modifying to fit, but nothing that DIY couldn't do. Next to that we just have a towel and tray, then usual dishwasher, drawers. And that's our sort of instant kettle, just press a button and get hot water out of it. Further around here, this is our sort of larder area. We just have our plates and glasses and junk on here at the moment. And more USB charging points, so we can charge all our phones. Built-in fridge freezer, standard stuff. And then a larder cupboard. We built this entirely. This was just a blank cupboard, so I sort of made it. I made these bits here, you can see, and again, as you can see, some Big C authentic Thai curry paste from Thailand, lemongrass. Seems to be a bit of a trend here. Noodles, Marmite. Anyway, but yeah, all this is built out of spare worktops, spare shelves. To be fair, I wouldn't say spare, we ordered them with the kitchen for this design. But then we sort of recessed the lighting up underneath as well, just so everything lights up automatically when the cupboard's open. We have a wine rack. Yeah, a bit of a shortage of wine there at the moment. And just some other scraps. In our boot room, we sort of made a bench for all our shoes. So we can sit on that, stick our running shoes on and go out of the side door without getting the kitchen all dirty. The flooring's 14mm engineered oak with electric underfloor heating and insulation. So it's a lot warmer than it was before. And again, the lighting is all spotlit, LED lighting that we sort of obviously installed, knowing where the units were going, and obviously central to the table, knowing where that was going to go. But pretty much, it's a very simple kitchen. It's not a show kitchen; it has no intention of being, but it's just very usable. There's only the two of us. I mean, if you had more than four, you'd struggle to fit around the table. And of course, we need some pictures, which is on our to-do list. But yeah, that is it. That is the finished kitchen. Our house is quite old, and as you can see, the kitchen is from 2007. It's fairly dark, it's fairly cold, and there's not really much usable worktop that makes using cooking in the kitchen or even eating out there quite a pain. It was built fairly badly and cheaply, and it just didn't really fit in the house at all. Before we started, we looked under the upstairs floorboards and found loads of old pipework and electrical cable, and one of the lead water pipes was leaking, which basically meant we had a nice hole in the floor in the void that we didn't know it was there, and we had to replace all the lead pipes into the house as part of the project. Knocking down the wall into the void was fairly easy, where we could see the leaking pipe hole and a gas pipe randomly just dangling through a hole bashed through the ceiling. The 32 amp cooker cable was just dangling loose in a terminal block with some insulation tape around. Not really how you'd want it to be. And the void behind the units and the wall showed around 4 layers of wallpaper, probably dating back to the 1930s. And even the last lot of kitchen installers had actually tiled over the wallpaper for some unknown reason. You have to laugh. We found loads of trunks cable and pipework in boxes in the corner, and various other cables going to places which weren't connected anywhere. So we checked all this and got them all removed. This really meant I had to do all new electrics, so you did a new kitchen ring, and it's the first time I've had to chase sockets and cables into the wall. The walls were all ash block bricks, so it was very messy. I mean, I could have done a better job than some of the electrics we found, but yep, we did get an electrician in to terminate everything and deal with it in the consumer unit, of course. So it's all certified under Part P. We installed the extractor so the vent went out through the chimney, through to the outside wall. Sadly, that wasn't an easy job. Where we made the hole, the chimney was actually solid, so we had to go in left and then back through the external wall. Probably about a day's job to do that, rather than the sort of 5 minutes I was expecting, but it was a good job at the end of the day. We managed to get a brick from next door to seal off the old hole. I filled and sanded all the walls down, but in hindsight a plasterer would have been much quicker and not that expensive, but it's a fine line on how much you pay someone versus a DIY project. But it would have been much easier. We redid all the plumbing, but it was a total mess, as you can see, with the mouldy walls and lead pipe. Fortunately, we had a contact with a mole, so he actually installed the water pipe from the meter in the lane under the drive, under the gas pipe, to the corner of the drive, down through the side alley, and then eventually up through to the kitchen floor. Without Andy the mole, we'd have been stuffed. It made it look easy, but it was a 2 and a bit day job for him to do, to get the pipe in. But without him, we just could not have done it. We couldn't have trenched the route. And all the internal plumbing we installed, and it's all labelled with arrows on which way to turn the stopcocks for Mel, so that if we have a leak, she should be fine. We changed the opening direction of the door so it opened out into the hall rather than into the kitchen to give us some more room. 5-minute job, that took about 2 days to fix. We tried to DIY the ceiling, but it was so messy with old wallpaper adhesive that had been painted over. The Mel made no progress on it at all in a day. So we got a plasterer in to redo the ceilings. It was cheap, quick, and as we said earlier, in hindsight, we should have got him to do the walls earlier. But once that was done, we got the lights all dropped in, and the electrics we pre-laid up in the ceiling beforehand. Once walls were fairly smooth, we decided to paint everywhere with a sort of mist coat, just so we had some good adhesion with the thick kitchen paint we were using, and started to tile the now exposed kitchen breast to make a bit more of a feature of it. Once the walls were smooth, it was then a case of painting, filling, and just making the walls as good as possible. Again, back to the point earlier, had we had a plasterer do all the walls, this would have been 100 times easier than it was. But we've got a good enough finish that matches the sort of age of the house. If it was too perfect, it wouldn't actually fit in the house. That's our excuse anyway, but it's actually fairly true. I designed the kitchen with just really a tape measure and PowerPoint. Then we visited DIY kitchens to see what size bits they sold, and then basically made a shopping list of everything we needed, all the edging, all the radius corners and the rest of it, and ordered it all in. 5 guys and a big lorry came, dumped it all out to us, and then we had to assemble it. We modified a fair few units, as you can see, the sink unit, the larder cupboard, and a few others. But overall, everything was as expected and went together fairly well. The worktop, we measured what we wanted and ordered some oak from Worktop Express with a few cuts done already. But some of the other cuts we did ourselves, and all the jointing we did in-house as well. Now, one of the bits of oak was 1.2 meters by 40 by 3, so as you can imagine weighed an absolute ton, and we had to root that in the kitchen in situ. It was just too big to take outside. But it came out well. We put some biscuits in and cut the holes for the hob and installed the worktop quite happily. Obviously we moved the hob into the correct place and then got a gas man in to connect it all up and to sign it off. The flooring was fairly easy. We went over the existing floor tiles as the tiles were on the concrete base straight onto earth, and we didn't really want to risk digging them up. So as it was fairly level, we just put a waterproof membrane on top with some insulation, and then electric underfloor heating over the entire floor, and then engineered oak flooring on top of that. The whole floor only took a day and probably the easiest part of the build. Anyway, as you can see, the finishing touches have gone in from the pictures, and pretty much that is it.